So now we're going to be jumping into chapter 8, where Israel demands a king. And this was foreshadowed for quite some time now. I think it was either Joshua or Moses that foreshadowed this, because the surrounding, the neighboring, I guess, territories had kings. And they figured that the children of Israel are going to want a king, seeing that other people had kings. So this was predicted quite a while ago. All right, so let's get started with 1 Samuel chapter 8.
Now it came to pass, when Samuel was old, that he made his sons judges over Israel. The name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second Abijah. They were judges in Beersheba. But his sons did not walk in his ways. They turned aside after dishonest gain, took bribes, and perverted justice. Then all the elders of
Okay, but they didn't fall into idol worship. They're just corrupt.
Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah.
Look, you are old, and your sons do not walk in your ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations.
But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, "Give us a king to judge us." So Samuel prayed to the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel,
"Heed the voice of the people."
That's interesting. Why give us a king? Why not appoint another... well, I guess God can only appoint a prophet, right? And it was the case where the tribe of Levites were the priests and all that stuff. But now God has changed that with Samuel. So, which is why now the people are asking for another change, right? Because can Samuel appoint another priest? Because that's sort of God's territory, right? God appointed, Samuel was given to God, right? And so God, that was a decision made with God, right? So in this case, but then again, the leader of Israel, that would need to come from God, and it did come from God. So I'm curious why they decided to go with the king and not another Samuel type figure. That's interesting.
Heed the voice of the people in all that they say to you.
Maybe they're just used to the idea of the people that work for God directly have been passed down through a bloodline. And so now there is no bloodline there, right, with Samuel. So maybe that's why. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below.
For they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them.
Heed the voice of the people in all that they say to you, for they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. So God is like, all right, fine. You guys want a king? Take a king, because I'm not your king. Holy, that means that they are still worshiping idols. These guys.
According to all the works which they have done.
They have been pagans for centuries now. The children of Israel have been pagans for centuries now. So it's going to be a bad habit to get rid of.
Since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even to this day, with which they have forsaken me and served other gods, so they are doing to you also. Now, therefore, heed.
So they're forsaking Samuel and wanting a king. So maybe it is coming from their pagan ways. They want a leader that is separate from the church, or separate from religious ties.
Their voice. However, you shall solemnly forewarn them and show them the behavior of the king who will reign over them.
So he's like, all right, fine. God's like, all right, fine. This is what they want. We'll give them what they want. But they're also going to pay the consequences also for what they're asking.
Samuel told all the words of the Lord to the people who asked him for a king.
This will be the behavior of the king who will reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for his own chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some will run before his chariots. He will appoint captains over his thousands, and captains over his 50s, will set some to plow his ground and reap his harvest, and some to make his weapons of war and equipment for his chariots. He will take your daughters to be perfumers, cooks, and bakers, and he will take the best of your fields, your vineyards, and your olive groves, and give them to his servants. He will take 1/10 of your grain and your vintage, and give it to his officers and servants.
This is a big deal, right? Because it is putting another human being onto a pedestal, putting another human being at a higher level than the rest, right? All this while, even Moses and Joshua, Samuel, right? They're not at a higher level. They're not taking other people's children and making them their workers. No. Everyone was working together, and then you just had a leader, a figure at the head, guiding everything, right? But there was no. This is going to turn into like these cooks and bakers are obviously lesser than the people in the royal bloodline now, right? So it's going to create this hierarchy, which I don't think God wanted, right? Which is why He didn't set it up that way. So this will be interesting. This will be an interesting dynamic. So this is why these are warnings to the people, right? Because to us nowadays, it's like, okay, yeah, that's normal, right? This is like, if you want a monarchy, this is normal, right? But to them, it had to be making a point of, right? Because they haven't lived under a king before.
And servants. And he will take your male servants, your female servants, your finest young men, and your donkeys, and put them to his work. He will take 1/10 of your sheep, and you will be his servants. And you will cry out in that day because of your king, whom you have chosen for yourselves, and the Lord will not hear you in that day.
Nevertheless,
See, becoming more and more earthly, looking up to another man instead of looking up to God.
people refused to obey the voice of Samuel.
No, but we will have a king over us.
See, it's the same ideology, right? They can't see God, but they can see a king. They can look up to a king. Same ideology with paganism and idolatry. They can't see God, but they can see an idol and they can look at an idol. It's tangible. You know, they can feel it. They can look at it, right? So it's just, children of Israel are weak-minded, you know? It's hard. Like, I can't really say much against them because all of us sin, and all of us have asked for forgiveness, and all of us have fallen back into sin, and that's the same thing the children of Israel are doing right now, except with paganism and idolatry, right? I'm sure that a lot of us don't do that nowadays, but, you know, we have our wrongdoings that we do and we shouldn't be doing, that we ask for forgiveness and end up doing it again. So, I mean, you can see we can understand the weakness of the mind that they are currently facing.
No, but we will have a king over us, that we also may be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us and go out before us and fight our
Why do you want to be like
battles.
everybody else, huh? I'm trying to fit
Samuel
in.
heard all the words of the people, and he repeated them in the
Neighboring
hearing of
towns
the
are like,
Lord.
haha, you don't have a king.
So the Lord
I fell
said
under
to
peer
Samuel,
Heed their voice, and make them a king.
and Samuel said to the men of Israel,
Every man, go to his city.
That's crazy. I thought that appointing a king was something the people wanted, but then it ended up being, okay, you know what? God's appointing this king, and it's still God's will that Saul became king. But God doesn't. This is all on the people. God's not for the king idea.
There was a man of Benjamin whose name was Kish, the son of Abiel, the son of Zerah, the son of Bechorath, the son of Aphiah, a Benjamite, a mighty man of power. And he had a choice and handsome son, whose name was Saul. There was not a more handsome person than he among the children of Israel. From his shoulder...
That's interesting, right? Benjamin was that one tribe that was... the rest of the tribes committed genocide on, right? They were almost wiped out.
Upward, he was taller than any of the people. Now the donkeys of Kish, Saul's father, were lost. And Kish said to his son Saul,
"Please take one of the servants with you, and arise. Go and look for the donkeys."
So he passed through the mountains of Ephraim and through the land of Shalisha, but they did not find them. Then they passed through the land of Shaalim, and they were not there. Then he passed through the land of the Benjamites, but they did not find them. When they had come to the land
I'll go and look for the
of
donkeys. I was
Zuph,
like, what are they looking for?
Saul said to his servant who was with him,
Come, let us return, lest my father cease caring about the donkeys and become worried about us.
Look now. There is in this city a man of God, and he is an honorable man. All that he says surely comes to pass. So let us go there. Perhaps he can show us the way that we should go.
But look, if we go, what shall we bring the man? For the bread in our vessels is all gone, and there is no present to bring to the man of God. What do we have?
Look, I have here at hand 1/4 of a shekel of silver. I will give that to the man of God to tell us our way.
Formerly in Israel, when a man went to inquire of
I wonder
God,
if
he spoke thus,
Saul
Come,
worshipped
let
other
us go to
gods.
the seer, for he who is now called a prophet was formerly called a seer. Then Saul said to his servant,
Well said. Come, let us go.
So they went to the city where the man of God was. As they went up the hill to the city, they met some young women going out to draw water.
Is the seer here?
Yes, there he is, just ahead of you. Hurry now, for today he came to this city because there is a sacrifice of the people today on the high place. As soon as you come into the city, you will surely find him before he goes up to the high place to eat. For the people will not eat until he comes, because he must bless the sacrifice. Afterward, those who are invited will eat. Now, therefore, go up, for about this time you will find him.
So they went up to the city. As they were coming into the city, there was Samuel coming out toward them on his way up to the high place.
That's sort of different than how it's been before with Moses and Joshua, right? I believe only the Levites could have eaten of an offering, right? Because that was part of their inheritance, that it was God's, right? It's offered up to God, the offering, and then God gave that. He took the fat and he gave meat to the Levites.
Was Samuel coming out toward them on his way up to the high place. Now the Lord had told Samuel in his ear the day before Saul came, saying,
Tomorrow, about this time, I will send you a man from the land of Benjamin, and you shall anoint him commander over my people Israel, that he may save my people from the hand of the Philistines. For I have looked upon my people, because their cry has come to me.
What cry? They just demanded for for a king, and then God's like, yeah, I'm not with that. And then now God is, we are his children. He can't be mad all the time. And He's really developed a soft spot, I guess, because soft spot for the people, even though that they've turned their back on him so many times. He keeps wanting to. So it's the people who say that the God of the Old Testament is cruel. Like, do you see how many times he's going out of his way, like in the old in Exodus and all that, with Moses having to talk God down, right, from destroying everybody. Like, look what's happening here. I feel like Moses didn't even need to have to talk God down. God was just venting probably. Like, and he knew that Moses would talk him down, so he just said what he wanted to say. Because here, the children of Israel have fallen into paganism over and over and over again, and God has sent deliverers to raise them out of it. Why did he not wipe them out like he wanted to do when they were worshiping the golden calf, when Moses brought down the commandments? Why did he not do it now, multiple times? Why God literally just said that he's not going to rule over the people because they have abandoned him and they want a king. But even still, he is looking out for them. Like, fine, you want a king? Okay, fine, take a king. Here are the consequences. Here are the troubles that it's going to cause you. You still want a king? All right, fine, we'll give you a king. And then he's playing the strict father, but then on this other side, he's like, okay, they want a king, right? Here's we'll take this guy. He'll help them out, right? I've heard my children. They're crying out to me. But take this guy. They still want a king, fine. I'll appease my children, and this guy will deliver them from the Philistines. So we'll go with that. Like, that's crazy. So people who say that the God of the Old Testament is a ruthless God, this is not ruthless at all, in my opinion. It's the opposite of ruthless. He's being very soft.
So, when Samuel saw Saul,
he's really being
the
like
Lord
a parent,
said to him,
like a protective, caring parent.
There he is, the man of whom I spoke to you. This one shall reign over my people.
Then Saul drew near to Samuel in the gate.
Please, tell me, where is the seer's house?
I am.
Who's the actor that plays Gimli?
Go up before me to the
The guy
high
with the little
place.
top hat in Indiana Jones.
For you shall
Sounds
eat
like
with
him.
me today, and tomorrow I will let you go.
John
will
Reese,
tell you-
something like that. Rohys. I think his name is John. Or was it Rheas? I don't know. Something John Reese Davies or something like that. That's what he sounds like.
And tomorrow I will let you go, and will tell you all that is in your heart. But as for your donkeys that were lost 3 days ago, do not be anxious about them, for they have been found. And on whom is all the desire of Israel? Is it not on you and on all your father's house?
It's also interesting that they refer to the prophets as seers, right? So the focus of the prophet, right, their identifying quality is that they can prophesy, not their relationship with God. Because I'm sure that the people around the area just call him seers, right? And the people around that area don't necessarily only follow the one true God, right? They follow idols. So he's become more of a, I don't know, like a wizardy witch type of, like a Merlin type of figure.
Am I not a Benjamite, of the
Kind of like
smallest
Balaam.
of the tribes of Israel? And my family, the least of all the families
That's how they view him. But Samuel is devoted to God. We know that.
of the tribe of Benjamin. Why then do you speak like this to me?
Now Samuel took Saul and his servant and brought them into the hall, and had them sit in the place of honor among those who were invited. There were about 30 persons. And Samuel said to the cook,
Bring the portion which I gave you, of which I said to you, set it apart.
So the cook took up the thigh with its upper part and set it before Saul.
Here it is, what was kept back. It was set apart for you. Eat, for until this time it has been kept for you, since I said I invited the people.
So Saul ate with Samuel that day. When they had come down from the high place into the city, Samuel spoke with Saul on the top of the house. They arose early, and it was about the dawning of the day that Samuel called to Saul on the top of the house.
Get up, that I may send you on your way.
And Saul arose, and both of them went outside, he and Samuel. As they were going down to the outskirts of the city, Samuel said to Saul,
Tell the servant to go on ahead of us.
And he went on.
But you stand here a while, that I may announce to you the word of God.
So Saul has no clue this is about to happen.
And Samuel took a flask of oil and poured it on his head, and kissed him and said,
Is it not because the Lord has anointed you commander over his inheritance? When you have departed from me today,
Saul's like, what?
you will find 2 men by Rachel's tomb in the territory of Benjamin at Zelzah. And they will say to you, The donkeys which you went to look for have been found. And now your father has ceased caring about the donkeys and is worrying about you, saying, What shall I do about my son? Then you shall go on forward from there and come to the terebinth tree of Tabor. There 3 men going up to God at Bethel will meet you, one carrying 3 young goats, another carrying 3 loaves of bread, and another carrying a skin of wine. And they will greet you and give you 2 loaves of bread, which you shall receive from their hands. After that, you shall come to the hill of God, where the Philistine garrison is. And it will happen, when you have come there to the city, that you will meet a group of prophets coming down from the high place.
A group of
With a
prophets.
stringed instrument, a tambourine, a flute, and a harp before them. And they will be prophesying. Then the Spirit of the Lord will come upon you, and you will prophesy with them, and be turned into another man. And let it be, when these signs come to you, that you do as the occasion demands. For God is with you. You shall go down before me to Gilgal, and surely I will come down to you to offer burnt offerings and make sacrifices of peace offerings. 7 days you shall wait, till I come to you and show you what you should do.
So it was, when he had turned his back to go from Samuel, that God gave him another heart. And all those signs came to pass that day. When they came there to the hill, there was a group of prophets to meet him. Then the Spirit of God came upon him, and he prophesied among them. And it happened, when all who knew him formerly saw that he had indeed prophesied among the prophets, that the people said to one another,
What is this that has come upon the son of Kish?
Is Saul also among the prophets?
Then a man from there answered,
But who is their father?
Therefore it became a proverb, Is Saul also among the prophets? When he had finished prophesying, he went to the high place. Then Saul's uncle said to him and his servant,
Where did you go?
To look for the donkeys. When we saw that they were nowhere to be found, we went to Samuel.
Tell me, please, what Samuel said to you.
He told us plainly
that the donkeys had been found.
But about the matter of the kingdom, he did not tell him what Samuel had said. Then Samuel called the people together to the Lord at Mizpah, and said to the children of Israel,
Thus says the Lord God of Israel, I brought up Israel out of Egypt, and delivered you from the hand of the Egyptians, and from the hand of all kingdoms, and from those who oppressed you. But you have today rejected your God, who himself saved you from all your adversities and your tribulations, and you have said to him, No, set a king over us. Now therefore, present yourselves before the Lord by your tribes and by your clans.
It's crazy. Like, God is being like a lenient parent. The children misbehave and saying, we want a king, we want a king. And God's like, no. Like, no, we want a king, we want a king. And it's like, okay, fine, here. That's crazy. Yeah, nobody can say that God was ruthless in the Old Testament after this.
For the Lord by your tribes and by your clans.
And when Samuel had caused all the tribes of Israel to come near, the tribe of Benjamin was chosen. When he had caused the tribe of Benjamin to come near by their families, the family of Matri was chosen. And Saul, the son of Kish, was chosen.
It's like one of those magic tricks where they already had it planned beforehand, and they're just choosing from the crowd to make it look like it's at random or something.
But when they sought him,
what is the point of choosing the tribe of Benjamin and then choosing the family? Just, hey, Saul, come here. We already talked about this before. Come.
He could not be found. Therefore they inquired of the Lord further.
Uh-oh.
Has the man come here yet? There he is, hidden among the equipment.
So they ran and brought him from there. And when he stood among the people, he was taller than any of the people from his shoulders upward. And Samuel said to all the people,
Do you see him whom the Lord has chosen? That there is no one like him among all the people?
So all the people shouted,
Long live the king!
Then Samuel explained to the people the behavior of royalty, and wrote it in a book, and laid it up before the Lord.
That's
and
crazy.
Samuel sent all the people away, every man to his house. And Saul also went home to Gibeah, and valiant men went with him, whose hearts God had touched. But some rebels said,
How can this man save us?
So they despised him, and brought him no presents. But he held his peace.
Some rebels against the king. But God is probably like, God did say that he picked Saul for them to save him. But I'm curious if these guys just don't like authority, or they're, if they are more on the side of like, God should be our leader, not another man. I'm thinking they just don't like authority. What was this? Chapter 10, 11.
Then Nahash the Ammonite came up and encamped against Jabesh Gilead. And all the men of Jabesh said to Nahash,
Make a covenant with us, and we will serve you.
And Nahash the Ammonite answered them,
On this condition I will make a covenant with you, that I may put out all your right eyes and bring reproach on all Israel.
Then the elders of Jabesh said to him,
Hold off for 7 days, that we may send messengers to all the territory of Israel. And then, if there is no one to save us, we will come out to you.
So the messengers came to Gibeah of Saul, and told the news in the hearing of the people. And all the people lifted up their voices and wept. Now there was Saul coming behind the herd from the field. And Saul said,
"What troubles the people that they weep?"
And they told him the words of the men of Jabesh. Then the Spirit of God came upon Saul when he heard this news, and his anger was greatly aroused. So he took a yoke of oxen and cut them in pieces, and sent them throughout all the territory of Israel by the hands of messengers, saying,
"Whoever does not go out with Saul and Samuel to battle, so it shall be done to his oxen."
Copying that one Levite.
And the fear of the Lord fell on the people, and they came out with one consent. When he numbered them in Bezek, the children of Israel were 300,000, and the men of Judah 30,000. And they said to the messengers who came,
"Thus you shall say to the men of Jabesh Gilead, Tomorrow, by the time the sun is hot, you shall have help."
Then the messengers came and reported it to the men of Jabesh, and they were glad. Therefore the men of Jabesh said,
"Tomorrow we will come out to you, and you may do with us whatever seems good to you."
So it was on the next day that Saul put the people in 3 companies, and they came into the midst of the camp in the morning watch, and killed Ammonites until the heat of the day. And it happened that those who survived were scattered, so that no 2 of them were left together. And the people said to Samuel,
"Who is he who said, 'Shall Saul reign over us?' Bring the men, that we may put them to death."
"Not a man shall be put to death this day, for today the Lord has accomplished salvation in Israel."
Then Samuel said to...
Why did they say that? So it was on that day that Saul put the people in 3 companies, and they came into the midst of the camp in the morning watch, and killed the Ammonites until the heat of the day. And it happened that those who survived were scattered, so that no 2 of them were left together. Then the people said to Samuel, "Who is he who said, 'Shall Saul reign over us?'" He's talking about the people who are doubting, who are rebelling. Like, why is this guy? Why is this guy? We are, the people from the right of the last bit of the last chapter. Okay.
"The Lord has accomplished salvation in Israel."
Then Samuel said to the people,
"Come, let us go to Gilgal and renew the kingdom there."
So all the people went to Gilgal, and there they made Saul king before the Lord in Gilgal. There they made sacrifices of peace offerings before the Lord, and there Saul and all the men of Israel rejoiced greatly.
That's a way to start off that's the way to start off a kingship.
Now Samuel said to all Israel,
or a kingdom, or whatever you call it.
"Indeed, I have heeded your voice in all that you said to me, and have made a king over you. And now, here is the king, walking before you, and I am old and gray-headed. And look, my sons are with
But they still need a prophet.
I have walked before you from my childhood to this day. Here I am. Witness against me before the Lord and before his anointed. Whose ox have I taken, or whose donkey have I taken, or whom have I cheated? Whom have I oppressed, or from whose hand have I received any bribe with which to blind my eyes? I will restore it to you."
"You have not cheated us or oppressed us, nor have you taken anything from any man's hand."
The Lord is witness against you, and his anointed is witness this day that you have not found anything in my hand.
Why does Samuel feel the need to do this?
It is the Lord who raised up Moses and Aaron, and who brought your fathers up from the land of Egypt. Now, therefore, stand still, that I may reason with you before the Lord concerning all the righteous acts of the Lord, which he did to you and your fathers. When Jacob had gone into Egypt and your fathers cried out to the Lord, then the Lord sent Moses and Aaron, who brought your fathers out of Egypt and made them dwell in this place. And when they forgot the Lord their God, he sold them into the hand of Sisera, commander of the army of Hazor, into the hand of the Philistines, and into the hand of the king of Moab. And they fought against them. Then they cried out to the Lord and said, "We have sinned because we have forsaken the Lord and served the Baals and Ashtoreths. But now deliver us from the hand of our enemies, and we will serve you." And the Lord sent Jerubbaal, Bedan, Jephthah, and Samuel, and delivered you out of the hand of your enemies on every side, and you dwelt in safety. And when you saw that Nahash, king of the Ammonites, came against you, you said to me, "No, but a king shall reign over us." When the Lord your God was your king. Now therefore, here is the king whom you have chosen and whom you have desired. And take note, the Lord has set a king over you. If you fear the Lord and serve him and obey his voice and do not rebel against the commandment of the Lord, then both you and the king who reigns over you will continue following the Lord your God. However, if you do not obey the voice of the Lord, but rebel against the commandment of the Lord, then the hand of the Lord will be against you, as it was against your fathers. Now, therefore, stand and see this great thing which the Lord will do before your eyes. Is today not the wheat harvest? I will call to the Lord, and he will send thunder and rain, that you may perceive and see that your wickedness is great, which you have done in the sight of the Lord, in asking a king for yourselves.
Wow. Asking a king for yourselves is wickedness in the sight of the Lord. Wow.
So Samuel called to the Lord, and the Lord...
That's crazy to say on the day of the coronation.
The Lord sent thunder and rain that day, and all the people greatly feared the Lord and Samuel. And all the people said to Samuel,
"Pray for..."
And all the people... Where is it? And all the people greatly feared the Lord and Samuel. But are we going to go through with the anointing of the king right now? I mean, not anointing, the coronation.
"Your servants to the Lord your God, that we may not die. For we have added to all our sins the evil of asking a king for ourselves."
Do not fear. You have done all this wickedness. Yet do not turn aside from following the Lord, but serve the Lord with all your heart, and do not turn aside. For then you would go after empty things, which cannot profit or deliver, for they are nothing.
Even Samuel is being lenient with them.
For the Lord will not forsake his people.
He will not.
For his great name's sake, because it has pleased the Lord to make you his people. Moreover, as for me, far be it from me that I should sin against the Lord in ceasing to pray for you. But I will teach you the good and the right way. Only fear the Lord and serve him in truth with all your heart. For consider what great things he has done for you. But if you still do wickedly, you shall be swept away, both you and your king.
I was half expecting Samuel to give more a direct warning regarding paganism and idolatry, but I guess we'll wait for his death, because Moses gave that speech, Joshua gave that speech. I'm half expecting Samuel to give that speech, but this is just at the coronation, right? So, man, imagine being one of the children of Israel now. Like, you know you messed up and there's no turning back. So they're just waiting for something to go wrong. Or they just, you know. But I feel like they're just going to forget in time again. I don't know, man. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. Today was nice. I like the reading today. Tomorrow we're going to be jumping into Saul's unlawful sacrifice. Oh man, what did he do? Chapter 13. We're going to jump into chapter 13 tomorrow. And I'll see you guys then, all right? Take care. Bye-bye.